That fuck
first
be
one?
the second. Not the
not
first one. First one usually be what, August? The first week of August.
Yeah. Cam, you think Cam gonna play?
Cam is definitely gonna play.
He need to, but I don't know if he definitely gonna play.
He has to, bro. You have a rookie and all that stuff.
But he's the number 1 overall pick, and you're moving on from your other QB. Like, he don't have to play the job.
Don't sound like your mic is working.
You're picking up a lot of background noise, FIFO.
Check your input.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna play him in the preseason.
Yeah. Why would you not play him? Everybody plays in the preseason now.
Play who? No, they don't.
Cam.
Who don't play in the play? Who don't play?
Cam Ward is gonna play a couple series. Most quarterbacks don't play now.
Patty play. Yeah, you do.
Jalen Hurts didn't play one down in the preseason. Who else didn't? Josh Allen didn't play
Matthew
one
Stafford.
Down. Yeah, most of them don't play.
No,
yeah, especially the veterans. Nah, not the
Lamar
veterans.
Definitely
not no more.
don't play. Lamar don't play.
That's because Lamar gonna get hurt.
But there's
I don't
nothing
think
for
Dak
Cam Ward to
plays.
prove,
Dak.
though, Nick.
That don't play never.
Yeah, that's his job. He ain't really got to play. That's the only reason I question was he play because that's his job.
I'm saying he's a rookie. It's not like how are you not trying to capitalize on real game speed by not having him play at preseason? You know,
I think they just don't want him to get hurt.
Yep.
Hey, I mean,
It's
it's
a long
football.
season
It's
ahead,
football. It's football. He gonna get hurt. Every quarterback we got hurt.
But it's a long season ahead. There's no reason to take live bullets in meaningless games.
It's only. I'm not saying you gotta play the whole game. He's just gonna play a series.
I understand. Okay, Nick, a series. I'll give you that. But you know what I'm saying? Outside of that,
all I'm saying is that I want to.
And if that series got 10 plays, he handed the ball off 6 to 7 times, bro.
Nick is right there. Rookies actually play in the preseason, whether they're starters or not. Rookies play in the preseason. They give them live bullets before game. It's the
Did
veterans
Jay Daniels
that don't
play last year?
In the preseason?
He did.
Yeah,
I think
all of them did in preseason.
But my thing is this though, Shelton, and I don't disagree with you. The rookies do play, but all of those rookies had to kind of prove something. You know what I'm saying? Even
Jay.
The nigga from the Bears, bro. What's his name? Caleb Williams. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Cam Ward is one of the few rookies where it's like, we know you're good. We don't know how good, but preseason isn't going to be the place to prove it. We just, we want you to take a couple live bullets, dodge them like Neo in the Matrix, and let's get to the regular season. Like, I don't think they want to put Cam Ward in harm's way because if he go down, you're gonna have another number 1 pick.
Well, the thing about that though, FIFO, is they haven't even announced him as the starter over Will Levis yet. We know it.
Oh, stop it, Fish.
No, we know it, but they haven't announced it yet. So they want
because they know they don't got to.
Yeah,
they don't got to make the announcement.
That's
the starter. That's the starter for that team.
That's the
like I said, no, we know it,
but
but their words are, we got to see how this is going to shake out, whether he's going to play right away or not. They didn't say that yet. But he's going to play in the preseason.
It's a given that he may be the only quarterback going into this season, rookie quarterback that he started. I don't know another rookie that's going to hands down start.
But they asked
maybe should do it.
All those guys started last year. Caleb, played in the preseason last year. Caleb, we knew Caleb was going to be the starter, and he played in the preseason.
Jaden Daniels
played in the preseason for sure.
Your boy from Denver. What's your boy from Denver name?
Bo Nix, absolutely, he played.
Bo Nix played.
Jaden Daniels played. Caleb Williams played the first 2 series in the first game, that opening game. 4 of 7 passing. They passed the ball. They weren't just back there. You want to see them take live bullets before you do anything. And not that you evaluate them, but
they got those. They got those cross count things that they do now, where you have much more control that they want them to play in more so than preseason games.
Right, but still, there's nothing like playing in front of fans in preseason. That's playing against an opponent, but it's not fans in the stands yelling. We know that's a different thing. We see what happens to Dak when the lights come on. So you know what I'm saying.
The Saints got a rookie quarterback. What happened? I don't even. The Saints got a rookie quarterback. Show who the hell is it?
Yeah, Tyler Show. But they saying that
And he from Louisville or Kentucky?
He from Louisville, but they saying old boy is leading the charge. Spencer Rattler is leading the charge for.
He was all right for a Saints quarterback last year.
He just
can't expect much.
But they're saying that he's leading.
Luda's trying to get
I'm trying to get Doc out.
Jalen to start talking shit. But now I was bringing all that up because I'm going to the FIFA. I was saying I'm really thinking about going to the preseason game in Atlanta for the Titans. So just check out the rookies. I'm early on the Michael Penix stock, so
you was looking for me, Spike. You wanted to hear from me, Spike?
I was wondering what the problem was with show starting.
Oh, whatever. At least my franchise has a top 10 quarterback.
Drew Brees?
Yeah. I got a top 10 quarterback. Yeah.
I do too. Troy Aikman.
He's not top 10. He ain't top 10.
Troy Aikman is better than Drew Brees.
Wow.
Troy is at
Troy Aikman is better than Drew Brees.
Who is?
Stop
it. That one.
Who is?
What? Troy Aikman is better than Drew Brees.
I don't even know Troy. I don't know if Troy Aikman would say that.
Yeah. Why is Troy Aikman better? Why is Troy Aikman better? Did he have a better arm?
3 rings. He got 3 rings.
He got 3. Spike only got 3 reasons.
We can start right there. We can start right there with them 3 rings, and y'all tell me what y'all think.
He wasn't even the best player on his team.
So thank you, Lou. I appreciate you because Dak ain't got no rings and Jalen got 1. So Jalen's better than Dak.
I mean, but
I'm just letting you know.
Jalen don't even play quarterback. He's a running back. So
he got more rings than your quarterback.
Because y'all have the best team on the planet. And that's part of Troy Aikman, too. He had one of the best teams on the planet, but he got 3 rings, not 1.
Thank you.
Yeah, Troy Aikman.
Yeah, but he had the leading rusher all time on his squad. And he had
y'all gonna sit here and tell me that Troy Aikman is not better than Drew Brees.
Yeah, the top 10.
He's not better than Drew Brees.
Wide receiver. He's not better than Drew Brees, bro.
What?
Troy Aikman was probably not even the 3rd best player on his team.
Not at all, bro.
Exactly.
Especially
when we talking about quarterback.
He wasn't even that though, Nick, because you had Nate Newton and all them dudes.
Deion was on that team too.
Hell yeah, he probably about 6 or 7 on that list.
And what was that legendary old lineman? What's his name?
Nate Newton, Larry Allen.
Larry Allen.
Who you talking about?
Yeah.
Nate Newton was legendary, not for football.
He can't even start on his own. He can't even get top 10 on his own team. Look at that. That's crazy.
Y'all are insane. We talking about playing quarterback. Troy Aikman is top 10.
You only say that U.S. Cowboys.
Hey, Drew Brees made it to the Pro Bowl 13 times.
Bro, Drew Brees got 5,000.
How many rings do he got? Troy Aikman got 3 rings in 4 years.
Listen, no defense for 3 straight years and still have 5,000 passing
and
yards.
1 Super Bowl.
5 All-Pros, 2 Offensive Player of the Years. Troy Aikman has none of that.
I will say this though: the one thing that I will give, if anybody's going to make an argument of Troy Aikman over Drew Brees, Drew Brees has one of the ugliest playoff losses in NFL history to Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins' playoff record is going against Drew Brees. That's the one thing I'm like, all right. Yeah, that hurricane run season that they had, that's the greatest that's the only reason why we like Drew Brees like that for real. Outside of that, we looking at him like
it don't matter. It happened though, right?
It happened though. I'm just saying.
I know Nick FIFO and Doc wasn't alive for Troy Aikman greatness, but Ken and Shelton, y'all know. I was alive, Lou, and I was trying to tell you, even then, niggas was like, nah. Stop. Nobody never questioned Troy Aikman. Nobody never questioned Troy Aikman.
Lou, I say this now. Troy Aikman throw better than him right now because Drew Brees can't throw the ball at all right now.
Yeah.
So you got it now.
Troy Aikman probably ain't the best Cowboys quarterback.
Oh no,
nah, he not. Roger
exactly. So how you even put him in the top 10 above Drew Brees? He ain't even the best.
Because I really didn't want to be. I didn't want to be disrespectful and tell you that Tony Romo might be better than Drew Brees.
Okay, all right.
That's not a story. That's a story for another time.
That means we need to start the show, kid.
All right. This is the place where sports opinions collide. Dead in Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth B. Inch. Joining me on the show, we have FIFO, Shelton, Drinking Spike, and Nick. What's up, y'all?
What up?
Because something definitely, I don't know what you sipping on, bro.
Truth juice. Ken, this is truth juice.
I don't want none of that. That must be expired. You gotta take a date.
Appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you guys leave a comment. You can become a member, as well if you want to help support the show. And hit the thumbs up button, and then you can also catch the audio replay and all that good stuff on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. But yeah, man, we have quite a few things to talk about this evening. Of course, OKC won the title. We did a reaction to that the night of, but it's been a couple of days, so we've had a chance to kind of think about it. And we have FIFO and Spike are with us now, and they can give their thoughts on everything that went down. And the trade, man, KD got traded again, and we'll talk about that as well, and some NFL news too. So before we get into all of that, let's get into our best performance of the week.
The pitch is funny. Best performance of the week, man. We didn't even need a pitch. I forgot to send it to Jaden. That's my bad. But it's SGA. That looked a little bit like SGA, so we're going to roll with it. But SGA did everything that he needed to do.
That's AI.
It's funny. From the MVP to throughout the playoffs to even it wasn't a signature performance. I wouldn't say that, but he was good enough to make sure that his team didn't lose to a very feisty Indiana team. So throughout this whole playoffs, throughout the season, people were doubting him, Nick, saying that they weren't experienced enough, they weren't old enough,
that wasn't me.
Through the fire enough. SGA still did what he needed to do to come out on top and make OKC champions. So shout out to SGA, best performance of the week, best performance of the NBA year. I loved what he did.
Lou, that was one of the best seasons ever, wasn't it?
They said it was top 3.
Only him and Michael Jordan have done regular season MVP for led the league in scoring finals title. MVP, and I want to say first team on All NBA as well. Only him and MJ have done it.
So
I will say I like the joke that Rob Costa said SGAI for this damn picture. But this is a testament of how much. If you think this looks remotely like SGA, that shows you that the superstar in the NBA is dead.
If he had braids, that would be SGA.
You wildin'.
Oh my goodness! All right, man.
It's like, get that random nigga off our show.
All right, but man, let's get into it, man. A lot of things actually been happening with the NBA, with trades and stuff like that. Spike is ready for it to die, but it is being resuscitated with the offseason that started with a trade that we discussed last week, and now a new trade that took place with everybody's favorite player they want to play on every single team in the NBA. That is Kevin Durant. The Phoenix Suns have agreed to a blockbuster trade, sending 15-time NBA All-Star Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft, and 5 second-round picks. Who do you believe won this trade?
I feel KD and the Houston Rockets won the trade because Houston is in a win now mode. And like Ken said in the intro to this topic, we love KD damn near everywhere in the NBA. Why? Because his game fits everywhere and anywhere. He doesn't need the ball to be effective. He doesn't need to take 40 shots a game to score 40 points. He just fits. He can play off ball, on ball. And even though he's no longer a really good defender, he's not the weakest link on defense either. And he still has elite size in the NBA. So all that being said, for me, the Rockets won this trade. However, I do like what Phoenix got in return. One of the things that's lost is that the draft pick that they got in return is their own draft pick. So that's a little irony there. However, you get Dillon Brooks, right? Dillon Brooks is a tough guy and Phoenix lacked toughness. And I don't see him getting moved again. Jalen Green could potentially be moved again because just like with KD on that Phoenix roster, I said from the get-go, Bradley Beal, D-Book, and KD don't fit. And Jalen Green is no better in terms of fit. So for me, I see Jalen Green moving on. I like it for Phoenix because they got something that they needed, but now they have multiple picks to move on. They got another player in terms of Jalen Green to bring in something that fits roster wise. Obviously, they're going to re-up D-Book, and at the end of the day, I've heard rumblings that they might buy out Bradley Beal, which just tells you how bad of a contract that is. But Houston won the trade because they're in win now. KD got old man game. He's going to be the same KD this year. He may be the same KD next year. And beyond that, we don't know. But with the ascension of Amen Thompson, Sengun, and, just that coaching staff being, I think this is going to be their third or fourth year, they're in a good position. They're going to be a contender in the West, but I wouldn't call them title favorites yet.
People, I could have sworn you said that was good to get those three together. I don't remember you saying it wasn't.
Nah, go rewind the tape.
I'm gonna go check it because I don't.
You didn't like the Phoenix. You didn't like the Phoenix setup.
No,
I think I was the only one, Lou. I don't remember you like the being with me.
I said they had no point guard.
Did you like the Brooklyn setup?
Which version of Brooklyn?
When KG went there with James Harden and Kyrie.
You mean KD? You said KG.
Yeah, KD, excuse me. Yeah, KD.
I thought it was a whole bunch of dudes that were all offense and no defense. On paper, it looked good, but I didn't think that they was going to win anything.
The reason that I asked, I wonder when we're going to get away from this thought process that adding KD to a team is going to make that team better when that hasn't happened since Golden State.
Thank you,
like, no, he's a scorer.
It happened in Brooklyn. It happened in Brooklyn.
What they win in Brooklyn?
What do you winning?
They were better.
You know what I mean? What they win?
You said a better team, bro. You didn't say win.
For half of one season, you're right. For half of one season, they were a better team. But the rest of the time there, they sucked. And they sucked when he went anywhere but Golden State. So I'm wondering why Houston would even jeopardize this. I get if you want to move on from Green, even though you've only given him one playoff appearance and let him choke in that one playoff appearance when he's obviously supposed to be a superstar from the regular season that he had. I'm not settling for KD if I'm Houston. He's too volatile a player in the sense of, I don't know if he's going to get into it with the head coach. I don't know if he's going to not like one of the young players. Like, he's been doing this shit since Golden State, even going back to Oklahoma City. He can't get along with people. So inserting him as a piece that's close to a championship, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, the talent is there. I get that, but I don't want that headache if I'm the Rockets.
KD is not a headache, bro.
He's a headache, bro. He's been a headache everywhere he's gone to.
No, he has
what a place. His name is not Kyrie Irving.
That's what I'm trying to say. Right? What are you talking about?
He's not Kyrie Irving.
Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say he was a headache in Oklahoma City. He was a headache in Golden State. He was a headache in Brooklyn. He was a headache in Phoenix. Like, I don't even understand how y'all are missing this.
See, and
you're giving me a headache.
Hey, look. We need to have a pre-show so that way we can limit the bad takes that Spike has on basketball, because that is arguably one of the worst takes, Spike. And you've had a lot of bad takes in terms of basketball. He is nowhere near headache. KD is the epitome of a guy that just gets along to get along. Like, he goes in, he's a consummate professional. He don't complain much. He goes out there and he does his job, and he does it at a very high level. He goes home.
You talk about the same KD that wasn't on speaking terms with Phoenix head coach during the year. You talking about the same dude, right?
Who's the head coach?
The same dude.
Who's the head coach?
I don't even know the head coach, Nick.
I
don't care.
Why it matter?
It matters because the star player on the team not having conversations with him. It matters in Brooklyn because they asked you to come here, or you asked these niggas to come here talking about Kyrie and James Harden, and then y'all fall out. It matters in Golden State because he asked you to come here and y'all getting a fist fight damn near on the court. It matters in Oklahoma City because you can't get along with Westbrook because he's ascending to be a star. It's KD. He the common denominator. So why would I bring him in and think things gonna go well?
And Lou, I I agree with almost everything Lou said. I'm not going to necessarily say it was a headache, but they did have reports that he did have fights in Phoenix. But nonetheless, Phoenix won his trade. You needed to move off of KD. You were not going to win with him. We've seen it. Proof is in the pudding. You're not winning the championship there. And although it is addition by subtraction because you needed to move on from Jalen Green. I've said it the whole time. I've never been a fan of Jalen Green. He's not going to develop the way you thought he would have in Houston. I don't think that adding KD to that core of young talent, super talented guys is going to help. And the reason why I say that is he takes a lot of attention as far as having I get what you're saying, FIFO, like he don't need the ball. Yeah, he does. He does, and he expects to take those shots, which could stunt the growth of some of those other guys. You look at some of the guys like Amin Thompson, you look at Smith. These guys were coming into their own and developing nicely. You add a KD to that may stunt out. Now, could help, but for the most part, it's going to stunt them and kind of set them back a little bit, if you ask me, because it takes the ball out of their hands. And you lost.
We had a whole season pause with the ball in their hands. You know what I'm saying? And they barely what y'all say. They barely got out of go to state knocked them out.
Second.
And
throughout the regular season, they were the second seed too.
Yeah, they were fine.
And 2 seasons ago, so was Memphis. Do you want to be Memphis now? Sticking with that
Memphis
roster?
was the 4th seed team.
No, I'm saying 2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago, they
were the second seed.
But we saw what happened.
It correlates because just because you have a young roster with a second seed don't mean shit in the West. Because we've seen a lot of second seeds not do shit in the West. Is what I'm trying to say.
I guarantee you, Memphis wouldn't have brought KD in to help that situation.
Memphis would love to have KD now. Are you kidding me?
Now, but when they was the second seed and thought they had time, like nobody,
they still would have. They still would have KD more. Listen,
there's no optimism.
So if KD is who y'all think he is, why is he not sticking anywhere? What's the issue with him sticking?
Because the organizations are shitball.
Now every organization is shitball.
Listen. The 2 organizations that he excelled at, where he built his career, was OKC and Golden State. We can look back from then till now and say OKC and Golden State are stable, probably one of the most stable, well-run organizations in the league. We're correct. True. Then he went to Brooklyn and Phoenix. He went to the Nets and the Suns. Those are probably 2 voluntarily, nonetheless. I'm just saying he went there
with players that were good on the roster. They put other people around him too in both places.
And in Brooklyn, that wasn't his fault because he couldn't control what Kyrie did. That's something that we talked about. We discussed. Lou, we talked about that too. Don't make that face. We discussed what can KD do with if your homeboy that you work with ain't trying to get vaccinated. What you gonna do? you can't do shit. And then in Phoenix, he did ask to go there because obviously Brooklyn was a shit show. He just didn't know that he was rolling up to the Dookie show because it was just another shit show that's in a different form. And that's where we're at now. Now he's back in a stable organization in the Houston Rockets.
It sounds like bad decision making by KD more than anything.
Yeah,
like if he was smart, he would have just stayed at OKC or Golden State, like you said. Those 2
pieces
that were good.
Draymond,
like he's chasing something.
He had to get.
He still even then could have stayed there. Like it was ego that made it. After Draymond chumped him, like Draymond was willing to get over that shit because Draymond wants to win rings. KD don't care about winning rings. If he did, he would have stayed in OKC.
But that's Draymond. But that's Draymond's squad more than it would ever have been KD's squad.
He was the third personality on that team.
But we've always said that Draymond was the leader of that team. Not the best player, but the leader.
The leader of the team.
No, Steph was the best player on that team. The leader of that team is Draymond. The voice of that team is Draymond. The personality of that team is Draymond. Because you have a whole bunch of light-skinned pretty boys over here running around shooting threes and stuff, and he was the guy that was getting in people's face, chucking guys, setting hard picks, getting rebounds, doing all of the dirty work. And that was the grit that we knew Golden State to have. It didn't come from Steph. Clay added to that, but he was a quiet guy. He wasn't confrontational. You know what I'm saying? Professional, consummate, go out there. He talking shit like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to take my shots and this, that, and the third. But he wasn't getting in people's face. That character of that squad has always been Draymond. Draymond has been the leader. KD, if he wanted to deal with that, that's one thing. He ain't want to deal with that. So that's why he bounced. Now, I don't disagree. I've said it now in hindsight, and even in the moment, he decided to go there. He should have stayed there because now you rewrite the narrative. Now you go win however many championships because you're arguably the best team ever. Now, what can anybody say? But at the end of the day, your take on, him being a headache and Shelton saying that he's going to stunt some growth. Shelton, I'm going to address you because I feel like this. When you have a superstar, right, that can score in many different ways, I feel that other guys need to elevate their play. And here's the thing. KD doesn't have to have the ball all of the time. Of course, he was going to take the last shot. He's one of the best scorers in NBA history. None of those other guys on that roster is going to be that. Nobody has that label, and nobody is going to grow into that. They can all be really great players, even NBA all-timers, but in different ways, not from a scoring perspective. KD can also be the corner guy, and you swing the ball to me. He doesn't always, let me get the ball, I'm going to take you off the dribble, this, that, and the third. The ball can move around, and when it finds KD, KD's going to get a bucket. Everybody else got to do what they do when they get the ball, right? So I don't think it's going to stunt them that much. I think, honestly, it's going to help them because KD's going to attract the double team. Nobody on that roster, they were number 2 all year, but nobody on that roster commands a double team. The closest one to doing that is Jabari Smith. The closest one. Sengun, because if he has a mismatch, and we know that he's a great value version of Joker, or he tries to be a great value version of Joker. But at the end of the day, KD is going to open up shots for everybody else on that squad. You just got to make them now. You're going to have wide open shots because you're going to have to run 2-3 guys at KD, especially KD hit 3, 4, 5 in a row that we've seen him do. And at the end of the day, y'all talked about the lack of winning in Phoenix. I don't disagree, but you look at his numbers, and also when he was off, right, when he was hurt or away from the team, they were like 3-12, 3-17, or something ridiculous like that when KD didn't play. And when you look at KD's numbers, still efficient. He hasn't fallen off much. Athletically, no, he's not the same guy. But getting buckets? Come on, man. He's still 25, 5-5. Anywhere he go.
Yeah, that's fine until they want more from you, though. And I think that's the problem that he's ran into. Like, it's fine. It's fine that you can go play basketball and still get your numbers, and you have this attitude, but like, oh, yeah, I'm just here to hoop, until somebody needs more from you. Like they need it in Golden State, like they need it in Brooklyn, like they will need in Houston. So has he gotten to that stage in his career where he can be like, yeah, you know what? I'm here to do the other things too. I can help the young guys. I can take a night off and make sure that I'm getting people involved. He doesn't care anything about that. And we've seen that numerous times. Like he only wants to play basketball. You acting like I'm saying something that's foreign, Nick. You've seen this since OKC. Who would want to leave Russ? Who would want to leave from playing with Russ at that time in his career, especially if he's good as what he is?
This isn't that conversation. You always try to make the KD conversation about his career, his legacy, and how you just either you lost. Sheldon, he must have lost some money on KD. He ain't never forget him, because the whole point of this conversation is about the trade. All they gave up was Jalen Green for KD. If I told you, Lou, right now, who would you rather have, Jalen Green or KD on your basketball team? What would you say?
Jalen Green. If I'm the Rockets.
hey, next topic, bro. Like we can't even. No.
If I'm the Rockets, I don't even
get out of here.
I gotta hear.
If I'm the Rockets, I want Jalen Green.
No.
Y'all do this cap every time for KD, like he's gonna come in and be the savior. We've never seen that happen.
Sheldon, I'm gonna ask you the same question.
We have seen that happen.
I would ask you if you could have Jalen Green or Kevin Durant on your franchise team. If you're an NBA owner or GM, whatever, who are you picking? Who are you trading?
Kevin Durant.
Trading for? Would rather have?
I would rather have KD at this stage than Jalen Green.
Sheldon, what about you? Because I know Q gonna have something to say.
I still would rather have KD, but not in Houston.
Ain't no but.
No. Let him finish. In Houston,
it is, man. And the reason being is I just saw what an OKC team did with their roster, which at a certain point in time we would have thought none of them would have been what SGA is today, because he didn't start off that way. He grew into that role. We know KD ain't an alpha male. He's not an alpha on the basketball court.
How are you saying that?
He left OKC because they couldn't get over the hump. he left Golden State because it was Draymond's team, correct?
No, he didn't.
He couldn't control Kyrie in Brooklyn. Everything y'all said, it shows me that he's not.
First of all, no one has ever been able to control Kyrie. Even LeBron couldn't control Kyrie when it came down to.
But what about the
second of all? And second of all, it's insane for y'all to say Kevin Durant is a two-time not only champion but Finals MVP. Who was the alpha on those Golden State Warriors team? Who did they defer to in Golden State for the shot? No, they did not defer to Draymond.
Y'all just said this.
He wasn't the leader.
No. That's what you said.
He wasn't the leader, but who was the number one option offensively? Kevin Durant.
What does that have to do?
No, it was Kevin Durant.
It was
Kevin Durant was 1A and Steph was 1B.
Yeah.
It was one or the other.
No. In the half court, KD was 100% the number one option. In the full court game, it was who do you want to guard? Klay Thompson that ran over there in the corner, or Steph Curry that's trailing and is going to hit a 40-foot three-pointer? You had hella options, but in the half court, that offense flowed through KD first. Not saying that Steph didn't get no shots and they didn't run no offense for Steph. Obviously they did, but KD was the most unguardable person on that roster.
Right, but what made it that way? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna just because I wanted to get Q's thoughts on the trade.
I mean, we're at the point in time where like I don't think it really matters where Kevin Durant goes. I mean, it's not really a seismic shift for me. He's all-time scorer. He's definitely like one of the 10 best scorers you've ever seen put the ball on the floor. But I think a lot of the reason why we're having this contentious moment about whose team was it and all that stuff is because of his past and because of shortcomings and because of whatever character flaws in a basketball context that people perceive, and just the alpha beta conversations that kind of dominate his career for the last 8 years. Since leaving Steph Curry, I don't think he's people say he hasn't done anything, but if you ask KD's always just been the guy that kind of just wants to hoop. And for me, once he won the second finals, I think he's just kind of packed it in respectively, and he's acted like that. And it's hard for me to look at a man who's saying, yo, I'm just kind of like chilling and whatever happens. It's hard for me to look at that man and be like, so gung-ho to want him to do all these great things. And if you don't want it for yourself, how can I want more for you than you want for yourself? So it doesn't matter really where KD goes. He's at an advanced age in the NBA, still adds a lot to that Houston team. He's gonna, help Jabari, and he's gonna help Amin develop their game immensely. He's gonna be an additive, and Ime Udoka is gonna use him so much more than he could use a Jalen Green. Because I think Jalen Green is, man, he's just not it for me in terms of NBA prospect. He has so much work to do in terms of shot selection, efficiency, and being a plus on the defensive end as well. And I don't know what Phoenix is really doing with this trade, but you can always say if you're a team that's on the come up and you feel like you're on the cusp of some success, that adding a top 10 scorer that can still get you 24 or 25 a game, that's got to be a W in terms of that for Houston. Phoenix, on the other hand, not really sure what the direction is here. Bradley Beal's probably going to get bought out. He'll get to pick where he wants to go because he has no trade clause. If I'm D-Book, I want out immediately. Get me to San Antonio. Get me somewhere where I can actually have a real future. And then just let Jalen Green and whoever else is going to lead your tank be the commanders of that tank. Because
are the Rockets a top 3 team in the West after this trade?
Yes,
I think they're top 4 team. Top 14.
I think top 5.
I think
so. That's crazy because they were second place last year, right?
They won't sneak up on people anymore. And actually, I do think that Dillon Brooks' personality is going to be missed. I don't know if much of his game is going to be missed, but just the setting the tone and being the baby Dennis Rodman he thinks he is. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be missed in the locker room because KD, you're trading a very lackadaisical, hey, it is what it is personality in for a guy who's like, nah, I want all the smoke. And I think that's going to be something that they need to find a different leader in.
You think so, Shelton?
It's tough to say, but I really don't. I think that they'll be. I think they'll be like fourth, and for some of the
you
same
think they're gonna
reasons,
get worse?
Yeah, I do. I think they'll be like fourth.
3 is worse, Nick.
Yeah, 3 is worse.
I'm saying top 3 because I think they're going to be.
But the West is better.
Is it?
Isn't you don't think so?
No.
So the Lakers made a midseason trade. They should be better, and obviously we'll see what happens. And they just sold for $10 billion, and we'll see everything that happens with the Lakers. The Clippers are still in the midst, not in my opinion, not a championship contender, but they're still going to be a top 5, top 6 team in the West.
Spurs,
Minnesota, the Spurs are going to be up and up, right? So the West is going to be better.
The best 2 teams for me is. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's what I was getting to, Sheldon. It was like, what y'all just naming teams. Y'all not
I'm
really saying
who's going to be better.
Who's going to be definite better.
The teams that I look at is I'm sorry. No, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, and Denver. I think Denver's going to take a step back up this year. I think Joker's going to put it together. Them the 3 teams I think about.
Minnesota's taking a step back.
Joker putting it together is hilarious.
Why is Minnesota taking a step back?
There's still so many moves to be made, guys, in terms of draft, in terms of like signings, and you're seeing different moves happening. Like Dallas, if Kyrie can come back, Anthony Davis, like they could. It's not even about necessarily like listing a bunch of playoff teams, but we're listing that during the course of the regular season, games that teams like Houston could quote unquote sneak up on you. And, put like, dog fights in the regular season against certain teams. They're not going to go that way. It might not go that way for other teams as well. So it's going to make the seeding a little bit more muddled because there's going to be more talent in the West. Only teams in the West to me that are not really going to be factors is your usual suspects. It's going to be New Orleans. It's going to be a mess. Sacramento is going to be a mess. And beyond that, like the Lakers could get better if they get somebody. Like there's a lot that can happen here in the top 6 guys.
So KD doesn't move the needle.
Not enough.
Anybody?
Well, not in the regular season. This is not a regular season move. KD is not at this point in his career at the advanced age of what is he 36, going to be 37 next year. You're not playing for regular season positioning. You are playing for titles. What did we see with the Houston Rockets against the Golden State Warriors? They got exposed because they didn't have a number 1 option. They didn't have a guy that you could say, hey, go give me a bucket. Yeah, they played great defense, but you can't play defense on Steph Curry when he's shooting 40-foot shots with 2 people in his grill and he's still knocking it down. And we've seen that throughout his entire career ever since he had the ankle surgeries to stay healthy, right? Because don't forget, we almost had an opportunity that Chef Curry didn't become the chef. But at the end of the day, this move for the Rockets is all about the playoffs. And KD in the playoffs, how do you guard that? We know where the ball is going.
They went 7 games in their first year as a very young team in the playoffs against a very experienced team. The argument could be made that they learned a lot in this series, and bringing these guys back, they could take a leap and build off that experience.
But the thing is, though, Ken, is Jalen Green is still a question mark.
They went 7 games without Jalen Green.
I understand that. Jalen Green is a question mark. Amen Thompson is a question mark offensively. What do they become this season? We don't know. But we 100% know what KD is.
But
same damn shit.
The logic for Houston,
25 points a game.
The logic for Houston is that's funny. But the logic.
Hold on, Q. First round exit, Ken. At the end of the day, right? It's also the squad that's around you, and this squad we know from Ime Udoka and down is that they're going to play hard-nosed, tough defense. I don't disagree with Q. Losing out on Dillon Brooks is like their version of Draymond Green. He is the character. He is the personality. He is the engine that pushes that team forward. They are going to lose. They're going to miss that. But what they did not have was a go-to scorer when you need it. And Jalen Green is a question mark. We saw him score 30 and then score 4.
Jalen Green is too much of like a work in progress. He's too much of a project. All the miscellaneous words that you want to throw at somebody when you're not sure who you're going to be. And we could look up and he could be the guard version of DeAndre Ayton in a couple years, or we could look up and he could have put it together and now he's like, a diet version of Devin Booker. Like, who knows? Like, he's in that much of limbo with his game. But to your point, Ken, what FIFA is saying in like layman's terms is that Kevin Durant is a final 4 minutes of the game scorer. When it's 98, 97, and it's like 3 minutes and 12 seconds left, and people are getting tight, and Amin Thompson is missing threes, KD, Jimmy pull up like at the free throw line. Like, hey, 1-2 dribble, pound, you know what I mean? All net. That's what that's what you're saying. And then you're allowing Amin Thompson as a defender to be more of an off-ball roamer who can be just an absolute terror. You could probably run some pick and rolls with KD and Şengün. You can even in spurts, not like running sets, but KD has some, experience running small ball 5 with the Warriors, and they can probably spell that for a couple possessions if they need to go small. This is a better move because if you, like you said, Ken, they did this without Jalen Green doing anything for them. So basically you're saying swapping out a 0 for at least a consistent 23, 24, 25 point per game score. And he's prolific top 10. So this is the difference between winning the game that you normally lose and getting to the next round and losing in 7 to Golden State. So simple math.
That's
here.
One way to look at it, or them building on the experience they had as a unit, as a team, as a very young team, and taking that and the developing talents, if any, and moving there.
But you act like they got
Nick. How well did that shit work out in Phoenix? 4 minutes game to go. 4 minutes game.
That's
game
a whole
on the
different.
line.
That's a whole. Nick, don't even answer that. That's a whole different thing. Ken, you're acting like Houston gave up Şengün, gave up Amen, gave up.
I know you're looking
Jalen
at this as a Harrison Barnes for a KD type of deal.
But Ken, no. Let's not switch the players involved.
That's kind of the same thing that's happening here.
No. Ken. Your point is that this is a young core and that they learned something in the playoffs. I don't disagree. I do think that they learned, but they lost one guy. They lost one young guy. The real core of the Houston Rockets is still there. Şengün is still there. Jabari Smith is still there. Amin Thompson is still there. So your point is null and void because the core that would have learned something, because Dillon Brooks is Dillon Brooks. We know who he is. He's not getting better. He moves on to another team. It's still the same person. Those 3 guys that I just named, we don't know what they're going to be next season, but the core is there.
Wasn't Jalen Green the leader of that core?
Hell no.
No, Amen took that.
It became because he played defense on his team. It became
I think it was Şengün first. Yeah, I was gonna say I would think Şengün be
the
leader.
We'll see what riggedy old KD do next year. Real quick. I told you this 2 years. He getting older and older. Dick, it ain't working out. Fat Chat Phoenix did not get their own pick. And that was from Weedon Boys. Member for 44 months. Appreciate it. And while we're on this topic, also from Weedon Boys, Suns traded Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and 4 unprotected firsts for KD 2 years ago at the deadline. New ownership is off to a bad start. Good news for KD is Ume, I saw wanting him. So he got it. He got his guy. He got his closer. And we'll see what happens. So I'm sure when we get there, we'll have definitely a lot to talk about, but let's not talk about losers. Let's talk about some winners when we come back after this quick break. Dead in Hip Hop for the last 14 years have covered the culture with authenticity. Some of you may remember the golden era of hip hop or the blog era to present day when you had the great Kendrick Lamar versus Drake beef. Dead in Hip Hop has been there for it all. But Dead in Hip Hop is not just stuck in the past. They're also finding tomorrow's legends today, putting you onto artists the mainstream hasn't discovered yet. Experience hip hop through the eyes of those who have lived every era. Join our community on YouTube, Patreon, or wherever you get your podcasts. Dead in Hip Hop. No politics, No BS. All right. We are back. Let's talk about Sunday. The Oklahoma City Thunder took care of home court advantage and defeated an injured Indiana Pacers team 103-91 to win their first NBA championship in franchise history. What does this championship run say about SGA's legacy, Shelton?
It says that he is on his way to being what nobody knew he was. I guess that's the best thing you could say. The first one and the way he did it was so impressive because of all the accolades that he got along the way. But it's still early in his career. And like, certain others, it's going to take another year at least before we start putting him on the level of some of the guys that we mentioned as far as core guys in the league. And as far as, being considered for the face of the league. So I think that this championship means a lot. It meant a lot. It took 7 games to do it, which many felt it shouldn't have. But at the same time, it's going to take another year for people to be believers.
Believers of what? SGA?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and his legacy.
What say you, Spike?
I think that he did what he needed to do. Again, I don't think that there was a signature moment in this finals for him. That way, you're not going to put him with Jordan, Kobe, or LeBron or anybody like that yet. But I do think that he still has a year to capitalize off of this high. Like, he's been able to do what he needed to do. Like, he was the best player on the floor for 4 of those 7 games. And being that his personality is what it is, being that he's not the flashy, over-the-top guy, he ain't going to talk to you like Ant Edwards is. He's not going to be as spectacular as a LeBron James. He's going to hit his mid-range. He's going to be efficient. And he's going to do what he need to do to win the game. That doesn't translate well to face of the league. But next year, if you get a 29 points a game MVP-type season and he leads his team back to the finals, I don't think people are going to be able to reject it. So, yeah, this set the foundation. It was a good foundation set, but it didn't take that leap to I'm here now. Like, he's at the door. He ain't came in yet.
FIFA. So it looks like you disagree.
I don't know how you win a championship. I don't know how you win finals MVP, regular season MVP, first team All NBA, and the only other player to do that was Michael Jordan, and you still outside the club.
Are you comparing him to Michael Jordan? Would you compare him to Michael Jordan?
What I am saying,
that's what we're talking about.
No, we're talking about SGA. And all I'm saying is that there's only one other player to do what he has done, and we deem that player the greatest to ever play. So you're saying that he's outside looking in. That's why I'm looking at you like you crazy as hell. He has arrived. Now, here's the thing. Face of the league, this, that, and the third, that's a media thing. You know what I'm saying? That's 100% a media thing. Because at the end of the day, the player who wins the most is the guy that everybody's chasing. Therefore, that person becomes, quote unquote, the face of the league. This is SGA's coming out party. And he's talking about that he ain't have no signature game.
He did.
He had no, bro. If SGA did not play at the level that he played, them boys would have, even without Halliburton, they would have lost to Indiana.
Yeah, I said he was the best player on the court. But he still didn't have a signature game. He didn't have anything to make you look the way that you looked at Kobe, the way you looked at Kobe after his finals, the way that you looked at LeBron, the way that you looked at Mike, even someone that lost the finals like AI, the way you looked at those people when they were on that stage is different from how you looking at SGA now. If you're telling me that SGA is in that club, you know basketball people, you know that ain't true. The bouncer still got him at the door.
Look, I vote to put Spike on paid leave during basketball season because I don't understand what the hell this man talking about.
Keep holding you accountable.
SGA is a top 3 player in the NBA, and he
didn't say you wouldn't. We talking about history, bro. You talking about people in the NBA. You comparing this nigga to Halliburton. Like, I'm talking about history. I'm talking about all-time history. That's the question. That's what we asking. Is he there yet? No, he's not there yet.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with Spike, and I also feel where people's coming from. I'm more in the middle of the two because for me, and this, I'm willing to say that I'm being ignorant because of how, we think of the NBA and how we look at superstar makes it to the finals. Superstars make it to the finals and they beat other superstars. I've maintained, I'm consistent. I don't think Halliburton's a superstar. And I don't think that means that Indiana is a bad team or anything. It just means that the best teams that played together made it to the finals. SGA had a fantastic season. I think he, is, for lack of a better term, he's just unseasoned greens, rice, and chicken. It's gonna do the body good. It's gonna do the body real good if you keep eating like that.
Eat it. Yeah.
No, but it's actually really good for you. You know what I'm saying? But the issue is that there's no flair in unseasoned chicken, rice, and greens. You know what I'm saying? But if you do look at the nutritional value, ain't much better than what you can get with that. Then that's why I feel like his game is. It's very simple. It's very sweet. It's very just smooth. It's like, all right, get to the cup, lay it up. There's not an insane amount of athleticism here, and he talks about this when he says that he watches tape on Steve Nash, and he watches guards who are not the most explosive and the most athletic. And my issue is not necessarily that he's not an athlete, but I would be lying if I said that how I understand the game and how I see superstars doesn't have, like I've said last episode, there's like a superhero quality to it. There's like something otherworldly that you're looking for in superstars. And Halliburton doesn't have that otherworldly quality, and neither does SGA to me. And that's why I think some people are going to look at this and say, okay, great season. You deserve MVP, but I need to see this one more time.
That's what I'm saying.
Because there are other stars that they feel like he hasn't seen yet. I don't think that people look at Halliburton like a star, like I said. I don't think that people look at Ja like a superstar, even though he's insanely athletic. He's not a superstar to me. He doesn't elevate the Grizzlies like that. He hasn't beaten a LeBron, a KD type. And that's ignorant, and I'm willing to concede that it is ignorant. But that is what we look at sports to be like. Titans at the top clashing.
What about Joker? What about the series against Denver?
I think that Joker is a superstar, and I give him that. But to me, that's like one guy on the road, and first of all, and he literally was just Joker by himself. And for Joker to take that team to 7 games, I say he's clearly still the first best player in the league, and without question, actually, because it was Aaron Gordon on one leg, Michael Porter.
Is SGA top 3 though?
Shoulder. I think that he's top 3, top 4. Top 3, top 4. So I'm not going to disparage him.
I'm gonna just say this: he West Coast Jason Tatum.
That's it. Nah. SGA is more clutch than that.
I was gonna say he did a little bit more than it. Wasn't a question about with Jason Tatum. Jalen Brown won MVP, so it wasn't a question about SGA being the leader of this team. So we can't really. I get what you're saying, Doc, and I get it because I see it, that comparison too. But I think he's a little more than that. But at the same time, it's really hard to put him on that list.
Oh, he's dumb nice. I'm just saying.
Jalen Williams was balling, bro. I think Jalen Williams might be better than SGA.
Y'all are funny, bro.
He's dumb nice, bro. He's like
I like him, man.
Nice. He's dumb nice. Don't get me wrong.
My thing is like our expectations is getting nuts for what we consider someone who's at the door versus in the club. if you can win a Finals MVP, a title, and all this, and you at the door, what club is it? Heaven? Is this the gates?
Nick, here's my problem though, and I'm not saying we've had 7 champions in 7 years. You got to kind of. I want to see some consistency before I start putting him.
What's more consistent? What's more consistent in history, Sheldon? What's more consistent in history? Because no matter what we say, how we feel, history books will say that SGA was the best player on the best team throughout the whole season, regular season, throughout the playoffs. Anyone Finals MVP, anyone in the title. Like, but that's what history is going to say.
Yes,
and everything else is just kind of like to me.
Nick, you said
to me, it's I. Go
Sorry.
ahead.
Sorry.
What you
I
about
was
to
just
say,
gonna say, Nick, you said yourself that people will forget about this champion by Monday.
I said that people forget about the Pacers and the series by Monday.
So just the
Actually, I don't think they will though.
That's why I focused on
you saw a parade today.
That parade looked like they
garbage.
That parade looked like somebody called
and that's why nobody gonna remember OKC. That parade is how SGA play.
But it's unseasoned chicken, bro. Like it's really good.
You have more people on the floats than the parade.
To me this finals run showed that he's a superstar, but he's one of those superstars where it's like you acknowledge him, but you don't want to be him. It's kind of like Aquaman in the Justice League. he's up there with the big dogs, but nobody's dressing like him in Halloween.
But I don't want to be prisoner of the moment, because we are in the era of parity and nobody's repeated. Like the three champions have been the three multiple time champions of this era have been KCP, Alex Caruso, and Drew Holiday. And the Celtics just blew it up. And I'm sure that we're going to talk about them, but everyone thought that this was going to be the Celtics era. And then you see how just one injury has you blown up an entire team. So, and by the way, the Thunder are going to get ravaged by that second apron. They ain't going to have to pay way too many guys. There's so much talent on this team.
Picks.
And they have all these
shit.
And I mean, shit, bro. Like, bro, for me, SGA is a phenomenal player. He's great. I'm just very tough with who I allow in that superstar club. Like, to me, that's like, bro, that like I reserve that. Man. I reserve that for like people who really make me jump off the couch. Nah, bro. SGA don't make me jump off the couch, bro. Like, bro,
y'all not paying money. Y'all not paying money to go see SGA play when he come to your city.
I'm not paying money to see a lot of motherfuckers.
But you paying. But look though, the class that you're putting him in, you paying money to see Ant. You paying money to see Luka. I don't know about Joker, but those two you're definitely seeing.
That's somebody that you're talking about.
But those are the other three though.
I pay to see Joker.
Those are the only three though. I'm not paying money to see SGA come hit mid-range jump shots, bro.
No, listen. All I'm saying is, again, regardless of how we feel, that's why I brought up history. Regardless of how we feel, the history looks at him as a superstar. He did something that only superstars do. FIFO talked about a list that only him and Michael Jordan on. That's unquestioned. And this is a league that had LeBron, Magic, Bird, Kobe, Eric. You named a couple of them niggas too, Lou, and they ain't done the shit that he did against some of the best players, if not the best player in the whole fucking league. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I don't know what else I can say to say like, oh yeah, he can't be there. If you don't want him at inside in the main section area, that's fine. But he in the club. He at the bar at least.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like he ordered a hookah at the bar, Lou. That's what he do.
Hey, I got a question. For y'all, and then we'll talk about Indiana. Out of all 7 games, who had the most memorable game on OKC?
Tyrese Halliburton had the most.
I know what you're thinking, Ken. Jalen Williams.
That's the 40-point game.
Ken talking about Williams.
They did a 40-point game. Was a 40-point game.
I think that every game, bro. Like I hate that it comes across like I'm hating on him, because I think he is one of the best players in the world. But game 1, we're talking about Halliburton. Game 2, we're talking about the whole OKC team. It's a well-oiled machine. They play really great. SGA did his thing. 4? Game 4, people talk about that as Indiana choked. No one says, like, people don't talk about that. People don't talk about that. Like, oh my God, SGA looked defeated until the last 4 minutes.
He scored.
All I'm saying is the perception for people who love SGA. Yeah, people are gonna say, yo, he was really clutch. People who are casuals of the game, which is what you're talking about, the perception, they're gonna be like, bro, he got away with crazy calls and Indiana choked.
People fell in love with Indy, bro. We're gonna talk about them, but keep going.
It's just 100, bro. I'm not hating on him. I think he is a phenomenal player. His pace and space, the way he thinks the game, and how he is as a point guard, it is phenomenal. But for me, I keep superstar tab reserved for guys that make me just throw my hat, bro. Like, holy shit, what the fuck was that? Or just the way that you have mastered the game is just so unfuckwittable that it's undeniable. He can get there.
Hold on. Pause right there, Q. Pause right there, Q. Would you not say him mastering scoring in the paint and mid-range game is not elite, if not the best at a guard position in the NBA right now? He has mastered the mid-range game. That's a dying thing in the league, and he's kind of bringing it back. Now we'll see how other many guards, start to go into the mid-range like that. Yeah. But SGA has mastered that. Now, I won't disagree that his game doesn't make me throw the hat because it isn't pretty or sensational. He's not an above the rim guy, right? He doesn't get a whole bunch of blocks. He like D Wade was more sensational to him. You know what I'm saying? But SGA on the offensive end is elite in the NBA. Elite in the paint scoring, elite in the mid-range. And I think he's mastered it. There's nobody, I can't say that there's a guard better than him that's better in the mid-range game in the NBA than him.
I believe that. And once again,
Brun. You forget about Brun.
I believe that, and I'm willing to be called ignorant in this take. But I think that for people who feel where I'm coming from, I'm getting at something that's just deeper than the stats and deeper than what you're seeing. It's just eye test and how you see it, bro. And here's the thing: is that Game 7, it is that deep because if LeBron won a Game 7 against the Spurs after Tim Duncan tore his Achilles in the first quarter, niggas would be being like, bro, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, come on. A asterisk on the finals, asterisk, especially if it looked like it was going to be a heavyweight fight all the way down. Of course, you cannot penalize a person for dealing with the terrain that's in front of them, especially when they had no effect on it, like Tyrese Halliburton tearing his Achilles, that he doesn't affect that. But, bro, are we going to sit up here and act like we're just supposed to be, yeah, like for doing what you did?
While you're there, then let's talk about it. How will we remember this run by Indiana? Because like I was just telling Nick, people were falling in love with this Indiana team, bro.
And Ken, that's why I'm glad we did our Sheldon. Appreciate you for fighting for us to do that instant reaction because I wanted to get ahead of the story. I think it was only me and Bill Simmons because I was like, no one's gonna give a fuck about OKC winning this shit because it's gonna be the biggest what if. Top 3 at least right now based on how the media trying to spin it. What if in NBA history? Because everybody gonna say if Tyrese Halliburton didn't get hurt, Indy fuck around and win this game. And I tell you, and I say if this wasn't water, it'd be gin based off of those arguments.
But Nick, you can make a case that that's the worst injury in NBA history. Given the moment, given the magnitude and the context, you tear your Achilles in a Game 7 when you're actually balling. And it's Game 7.
But the miracle was that he got to Game 7 on an injury that he should have been out for 5 weeks. Even when KD came back, he was in and out of the playoffs where he was trying to rest up to even come back for the final. So it's just like, brother, like the thing is like it was really dumb for them to do what they did. Because now, like you talked about Q with Boston, with one injury, now you blown up the team. You could argue you should do the same thing with Indy. Because like we talked about, they got no superstar on their team, right? People, don't give me that look. They got no superstar on their team. Right. Most of their players you feel like you can replace because you trust the system more than you trust the players, especially from that Game 7. And then on top of that, Halliburton is going to be out for at least until 2027.
The whole year.
Yeah.
Nick, I have a question for you. No. I got a question. No, Nick, you hold on. I got a question for Nick. When you heard or saw that Halliburton got hurt, what did you think? You knew the game was over. Everybody knew the game was over.
Don't ask my instant reaction, kid, because it's not.
Everybody.
It wouldn't be. I try not to. Injuries are part of the sports, and I don't like.
I understand that. But once Halliburton went down, everybody was like, "Oh, this shit is a wrap."
It is.
That's how significant his injury was.
We said the same thing about KD with Golden State in that finals against Toronto. You know what I'm saying? But we still look at Kawhi as a 2-time finals MVP, 2-time NBA champion.
I said that
and someone who did something we never seen before, who is get traded to a team he don't want to be there for, win a title, and dip. We never see nobody do that.
But you know the reason why people don't do it as much as they're going to do that with this Halliburton injury is because Halliburton is the guy. Is when KD went down, you still had Clay, Steph, and Draymond. The big three was still there, and they still had a chance. Only when Clay tried to dunk the ball and tore his ACL did we say, "Damn, it might really be over here."
But the thing about the whole thing is with context. What you always talk about context. Halliburton looked like shit most of this finals. Let's keep it a bean.
No, bro.
There was like 2 games where he played like should we start TJ McConnell?
And they who was saying that?
Shit.
Yeah, it was. I said they. You know, this is the report that I got from the streets.
Throw that shit out, dude. OKC, most of OKC look bad too.
No, let's not. Hey, Lou, most of them ain't graduate high school. Right? They still talk. What I'm saying is, we look at these stats. We talked about stats a lot with SGA. Look at the stats of Halliburton. Some of these games, this nigga ain't even get past 15. Ken, you said one of the games he got
he was putting up R. Kelly numbers. I get it, but I'm just saying, bro. but they needed him on the court, man.
No, listen.
That ain't what he do, though. You're right. He did disappear in a couple of games, but his presence was still felt because what he does for that team. Like Obi was talking about it after game 7. He was like, bro, we just needed him out there. Like the things that he does for this offense, like he don't got to give you 20 points. He ain't got to give you 30 points.
He ain't got to.
We need him out here to run this offense says a lot.
Because niggas still got to guard you.
I'm saying this, though. He was a force ghost out there. You saw him, but he ain't do shit.
He was heat checking game 7. So what are we talking about?
The game that we talked about where SGA showed up game 4. That was the game. Was that game 4, game 5? The Indy gave up where they had a double-digit lead going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Exactly. So where was the superstar? I know most of us ain't saying that, but where was he then? They was ready to build a statue for this nigga Ken, and then they want to talk about what if? We didn't have to see what if it was 7 games.
All I'm saying is that
it was 7 games because of Halliburton and the team.
I think that we're like, a far cry from saying, he didn't show up in some games versus the nigga tore his Achilles in the first quarter. I think that's a very different scenario.
But I'm saying he should have. First of all, he shouldn't have been playing.
He shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been. But he shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been. But no athlete is gonna say in the most important game that I've been training for since I was 7 years old, am I gonna just sit out? Like no one's doing that.
And I'm not.
And why is that a point? He got them to game 7 by playing.
I'm not. If y'all listen to this reaction, which I know y'all didn't, except for Q and Sheldon who were there. I mean, Ken and Sheldon. I didn't say he should have sat out game 7. I would never say that because it's game 7. But they should have managed his minutes better. They should have managed his minutes. Saying,
it was going to snap regardless. It was going to snap regardless.
We let you start the first 4. I'm just saying, to think that you could play a game 7 that high intensity basketball when you have already had a calf strain that you've been dealing with for the last 4 to 6 days. That's only going to get worse when you play on it. We literally saw that with KD. We literally saw that, and even then KD took time off. So that's what I'm saying. It's like it was a dumb decision that they didn't manage. The player's never going to say get out like you just said, Q. The player's never going to say I'm not going to play.
He only played like 24 minutes in game 6. They managed it. That
was a blowout. He didn't need to.
That calf strain is. There's a couple of doctors that I follow like on YouTube and social media and stuff that does sports reporting and stuff. I've sent them to y'all before. He said that calf strain was probably misdiagnosed because if you listen to what Halliburton said when the injury happened, he said he felt it in his ankle. A calf strain you're not going to feel in the ankle. So it could have been that he had some slight damage already to the Achilles tendon. And then with that negative step that he took, he finally tore it. It is what it is. But the context, Nick, is the fact that, and this is what I was trying to explain to you in the New York series versus Indiana. For New York to be successful, Brun got to score 30 points. It don't matter about no assists. It don't matter about no turnovers. He got to go get buckets. Tyrese Halliburton's presence as a point guard, regardless of what he scores, and what that I kept saying, that they had to play with purpose. It wasn't about him scoring 30, 40 points. It was about him being decisive as a decision maker with the ball. And when he played decisive, We saw that they got all the way to a game 7. And here's the other thing too, Nick. I get you in a regular season managing an injury of this magnitude, but we're talking the finals, bro. Like what are we saving it for? Like, you're not saving nothing. Right. You have to leave it all out there. And if you get hurt, just like he said in his post, I'll do it 100 out of 100 times, bro. Yeah. When you an athlete, and like you said, when you've been training for something like that since single digits, 5, 6, 7, been going to AAU tournaments, been telling some coaches tell you, hell no, you've been outplayed by other people and this, that, and the third, and you've gone through all of those roadblocks, and you get the game set, bro. I don't give a damn. I'm leaving it out there on the court. Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, that just happened. It ain't no managing it, Nick. You're our best player, and we need you to play.
But it doesn't matter. Like Super Bowl, World Series, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup, doesn't matter. PGA, whatever. If you ask this athlete in their adolescence, in their college years, yo, you make it to the Super Bowl, you make it to the World Series, you have you need to get Tommy John surgery, you need to have a meniscus surgery, hey, you have a calf strain, and it's the final game, win or go home, and your team needs you to play. Are you going to play? Most athletes are always going to say, yeah, that's what I do this for, of course. Like, I'm going to stick it out.
I know we got to move on, Ken, but the bottom line is who gives a fuck? Injuries are a part of sports, what we always say. OKC won. We're not going to ever know.
That's some bullshit, though.
With their superstar, Nick.
But that's some bullshit.
We're not going to ever get the chance to see if Halliburton can win a title or not, because he did.
One quick question for y'all, though. If Indiana was big if, but if they had won, what would we be saying about SGA?
That's what I'm saying.
It don't matter. We don't even know. We don't even
but like that's what I'm saying though. And it's those real conversations, and it's those real what ifs. It's those real what ifs that make people be like, okay, well, game 7, come on, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, here's what I say. Here's what I say. To answer the question a little bit more directly, I think people will remember this run, and I think they're going to remember it for the what could have been, because of the dialogue that was taking place afterwards. What if? And because of that, this is going to be kind of like that first Warriors title. Not as much of a stain on it when Kyrie went down, but people will look at this game when Hallie went down, and they will say they didn't stand a chance to win this game without him. And
I think, but Ken, to your point, I think that the Warriors title against the Cavs the first time around when Kyrie got hurt is a bigger what if than this, because we saw that same series a couple years later or the next year where he was healthy with LeBron and they won.
He got hurt game 1 though.
I'm just saying, but that changed the whole series because it was just LeBron against them.
And LeBron, but I think because of that, people are going to remember this series.
I know, but LeBron, first of all, Steph Curry hadn't cemented himself yet. So it's not like we're saying, oh, yeah, Steph was a superstar. Of course, he's going to beat up on LeBron. It was the Warriors are young pups. Let's see if they can do this. And plus, LeBron had a lead in that series. It was like 2-1 going back to Cleveland, I think, or something. 3-2, something of that sort. I think it was 2-1. And because of Dellavedova having to get IVs and the lack of talent around LeBron, yeah, they lost. But that didn't really put a stain on Golden State. It just kind of stamped them as an all-time great team.
Nah, Q, you're wrong. I think people looked at that title was like, man, Kyrie got hurt, and that's the only reason why they won that title.
The only reason why people don't look at it like that because the only reason why people look at it like that.
Nah, I think everybody
Golden State. Because Golden
NBA
State
hated LeBron at that time, bro. NBA hated LeBron James. Most of the casual viewers want to see LeBron James lose. I don't think
Not when he went back to Cleveland.
Yes, especially when he went back to Cleveland. Everybody was like, "Oh,
yeah, Kevin Love,
come on, man,
yeah, man,
yeah,
come on,
bro."
Man.
Nobody was saying, "Oh my God, poor LeBron." People were like, "That's what he gets for teaming up with a big 3 again. That's what your ass get." Yeah, I'm glad the Warriors won, and I'm glad.
Nah, man, the conversation was the LeBron lost 2 of his best players, and that is why they lost the series.
I think that we're
revisiting. Anybody else in that situation, we saying the same shit that y'all trying to get away with saying about Halliburton now. That's why I said. That's why I said. No, that's all I'm saying is even if you like LeBron or not, the fact that he lost Kevin Love and Kyrie in that
casual
series,
fan was not crying about that. The casual fan didn't give a fuck. They were like, "That's what LeBron gets for leaving D Wade and going to get a big three." That's what.
But I'm talking about the results of the series. They're saying that's why nobody gave that, especially when they lost last year, when they lost the year after. And then they went and got KD. Nobody was really giving the Warriors credit for winning that series like that.
Nah, y'all really been having like Q right. Because if this is the case, niggas don't give Bron any type of grace when it comes to him losing finals. So how would that even make sense? Because if that was the case, people would be like, well, when he went against the Spurs, niggas be like, fuck that. We don't care that he got swept. He got swept. Niggas don't give Bron grace for losing. I don't know where this narrative is coming from. When y'all talking about Dave saying
first of all, they give LeBron a lot of grace for losing.
No.
I'm LeBron fans do
for that series. Y'all, wait, hold on. Yeah. When Kyrie went out and when Kevin Love went out and when the Warriors won that series, y'all telling me that people were not talking about the reasons why they won that series because they lost Kyrie, not about the LeBron hate, but about the reasons why the Warriors won the series.
People were saying LeBron, you have a 2-1 series lead, close the deal. You got them shook.
Yes, exactly.
That's really what they said.
And this is the only thing that people really talked about was Iguodala winning that MVP. And the reason why they didn't have a stain on that is because they went 7-3-9 the next year. So it was like, all right, it's not like it was just a fluke. They came back next year.
They lost.
But that's what I'm saying. That's when the conversation came back up. They were like, see, if they would have had Kyrie and Love, they would have won the series before because they won the series afterwards.
There's three camps here. Okay, at the time of the 2016 comeback, there was now Golden State bandwagons. So that's one audience. There's the LeBron James lovers who think of him as the replacement for Michael Jordan, the casual fan who loves LeBron. That's the second camp. Then there is the casual NBA sports viewer who hates LeBron James because he ain't Mike. And that viewership, that is the majority. When he came back in 2016, they were talking about the Draymond suspension, and they were quiet. They couldn't say much about, man, fuck LeBron, but people were on some like, man, if Draymond could have played, it might have been different though. There was no poor Bron. Niggas don't fuck with LeBron. All this revisionist shit that we do when players retire or they're about to retire. LeBron was not fucked with like that when he went back to Cleveland, bro. Everybody wanted him to lose.
Niggas do this. Niggas do this. Q right. When niggas are at the end of their career, niggas start changing the narrative of how their career went. They did the same thing with Kobe. Like it's just been a shift at the end of the career compared to how much hate Kobe really endured most of his career. Like niggas really do just shift when niggas about to leave, and it's kind of crazy to see.
I don't know. And maybe I'm misremembering, but I doubt it.
You ain't misremembering.
I think that when they came back from 3-1, they were like, "See, this is what we said would have happened." And LeBron, then they went and got KD, and then they armored up. So I don't know. I don't know about that, y'all. But all right. Anyway, we will jump right into. We need to talk.
All right, y'all. I really like what Lou was saying earlier in this show because he brought context to what I'm about to say right now. He basically started off the conversation saying, SGA, for all that he did, he still ain't it. he still ain't that nigga in the NBA. He still ain't gonna be the face of the league. And I think Sheldon, someone else brought up the parity of the NBA as far as the last 7 years, there's been a different champion, different franchise winning the title. I think that we need to end the conversation. We need to talk about ending the conversation of face of the league. I think that that's going to be null and void. For one, the foreigners have taken over. This is not your granddaddy's NBA, FIFO. You say like ain't no more American stars no more. What's his name? Steph, LeBron, KD. These are the song years of that ever. We talked about the death of the mid-range. This is the death of the face of the league. Because I think right now, and it may behoove the NBA to move forward towards a franchise forward-facing model for their league and not player-driven. Because right now, if SGA walked down the streets of Atlanta, Lou would not know who the hell that is. He would think it's that goofy nigga that's Jalen.
Look at his dress weird. Some nigga that's dressed weird with braids.
he would think that's some other nigga in Atlanta that's just having a casual stroll. So my thing is, I think that we need to end the conversation about face of the league. I think it's going to be done. It's irrelevant. I don't see when the next American superstar will come up. We talked about Ant, and y'all clearly don't like Ant from the comments and all that. Chet ain't shit, at least not yet. Who else we got? Ken, we ain't got nobody else for real.
We still don't know the coach name yet.
Jason Tatum. Y'all didn't want to give it to Jason Tatum. Now he hurt. We don't know if he ever gonna get back. Watch how you say his last name,
Nick. This is
you definitely need to make sure that L is loud.
So Nick, this is where I disagree with you, and I agree with
the roll it like Hispanic.
This is a really great domestic draft, right? Like we don't know obviously what some of these players are going to be 5-10 years from now. But at the top of this draft, the best players in this draft are all domestic products, bro. So we could have the face of the league that is a domestic guy from this draft. Now, I do think, why not?
Bruh, Cooper, CF is leading the number one overall pick.
You got Ace Bailey.
You got Ace Bailey?
And none of us, the best player in this draft, none of an instant superstar, like, you know what I'm saying?
Like,
he's
he's not the best player in this draft, though. Ace Bailey might be better than him.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's question of seeing like how far Cooper City.
Hold on. That's not the point that I'm making, though.
But that's because y'all
No. Y'all making my point is that this is this is going to be one of the best drafts ever, and the majority, yes. This is going to be up there with the 03 draft. This is going to be one of bro. This is a super stacked draft, and the majority of the best players are American products. Go watch these youngins, bro.
And that's why they say it's that's why they say this is a one-player draft, Lou. I mean,
no, it's not a one-player.
It's not a one-player draft. Nobody said that.
I'm trying to tell you, this is a one-player draft.
They're saying this is one of the most stacked drafts in the last decade.
I don't know. I think that's cap, but I think that it's not like a terrible draft. There's some gems here, but there's a lot of questions with a lot of these prospects. Like,
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Like Cooper Flag is not like a layup prospect. Like he has the tools, but no, like people, you can't lie. Like there's nothing spectacular that Cooper Flag does. As like there's not one skill that he has that's like, oh my god. Go back to I'll give you a draft 2014. That was way more hype than this draft. You had Karl-Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, Joel Embiid, all these people who Devin Booker was the 11th pick. Like people were hyping that draft up as like, oh, you can't really miss in the top 5. And Porzingis, like, you know what I'm saying? These were, real talents that people were hyping up. You go to this draft, it's like it's Cooper Flag.
These are talented. They're talented guys, but we're not saying that these guys are going to come take the league by storm. No.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is in every draft, even the great ones, there's going to be guys you thought that was going to be something, and they became nothing. And there's guys that you didn't even know, and they became something, like Jimmy Butler, Manu Ginobili. Like I could continue to name them. All I'm saying is that there are a lot of great domestic products in this particular draft. Nick, the overarching point or the underarching point that you're trying to make is that a European-born player is not going to be the face of the league. For several reasons. We've talked about it on this program multiple times. It's more than likely going to have to be a U.S.-born player. And Edwards he doesn't necessarily want it, but maybe and the thing is, you don't choose it. It's the media and your play that chooses it for you. So even though Ant may not want it, he may be the face of the league. Even though y'all saying Cooper Flag doesn't do nothing special, he dominated NBA players in USA basketball. He might come into the league and dominate.
A lot,
I just never seen people where this one of the greatest draft class.
Yeah,
that you was talking
about. You
don't. That's a big stretch.
Okay, so let me re-clarify really myself. Draft. This is a really good domestic draft. One of the best domestic drafts that we've had in a very long time.
Look at what you just had to say, though. Like that sounds like a shitty draft.
No, it's not. Oh my God, Nick. Nick, just be quiet real quick. Nick, be quiet real quick because it's a good draft. And all I'm saying is because you said that the Euros are taking over, I'm saying that in this draft, that's going to balance out. That's all I'm saying.
Look, FIFO, I'm not saying the Euros taking. It's the stats. It's the championships. What was the last time the Celtics, the Lakers, and who else? Sheldon. What was the last time a franchise that had like an American-born star won it? Like, how many titles has it been in the last 7?
It's been
it's just Kawhi. I'm just saying, like
who the top 5 in this year's draft?
Hey man, you got Cooper Flag, you got Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, and they both have questions because how do you have those amount of talents and don't even make the tournament? VJ Edgecombe is getting a lot from Baylor. You have Con Knipple, whatever Knuppel, I forget his name from Duke. He's really good.
He's not
Trey Johnson.
I fuck with him. Yeah, Trey Jackson. Like you have a Derek Queen or whatever his name is. There's a lot of guys that you could make the case will become, to me, this is like a lot of Desmond Baines. This is a lot of those really necessary players that you need to win championships, but I don't really see like superstars coming out. Now, that normally means we're going to get 1 or 2 Donovan Mitchell types that, how did we miss on this? You know what I mean? Like Zach LaVine was in that draft, and they let him fall to Minnesota, and he's one of the better scorers in the league. I always bring him up. But in terms of the domestic product, there's so much like to be seen here that you could talk me into anybody being a bust. You could talk me into anybody being a superstar because you got to see it. And to answer people's question, I think that we're in the age where, guy like Cooper Flag goes into Team USA and he looks like he has a grown man game, but this is much of, and this is not a diss, but I think we're in the era where a lot of players with their training and with the amount of film that we have, they don't really have to have super flashy games or elite athleticism because SGA and these young kids are coming in and they're just kind of like piecing the game together, really smooth and complete games. And there's no real like blacktop energy. There's no real, public school hoops that's, you can see on their jacket. It's very much so prep school refined, FIBA basketball that they know how to get to the paint. They know how to shoot floaters. They know how to shoot the mid-range, and their 3-point is efficient. And that's where I think we had the SGA conversation where we were like, okay, but is it really a superstar? Is he that great? That's what Cooper Flag could be, and he could end up winning an MVP with that type of game. But
and that's why I don't give a damn. And that's why I don't give a damn about these international players.
I think one of those 3 between Harper, Bailey, and Flag that you're gonna get the player that you're talking about, Q. Like I think one of those 3 players is that player. Like this domestically born that has the game that you're talking about, that has the public school background because of who Harper's dad is, because of where Bailey grew up and played at, and because of how good Flag is. One of those 3 dudes is going to be that dude looking to the next generation like, oh, damn, we knew he was good. We didn't know he was that good.
I'm just saying, the face of the league is dead, bro. It's dead.
All right.
And Nick, I fully agree with that.
Yeah. Let's move on. Let's talk about some football. The Baltimore Ravens are staying aggressive in their quest for another championship since 2012 by signing free agent cornerback Jaire Alexander to a 1-year deal worth up to $6 million, which includes $2 million in incentives. Does this add more pressure on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to win a title this upcoming season? And if Lamar does not win a championship this season, will we view him differently?
I want to go really quickly because I'm just really perplexed by what the Ravens do. I understand that this move is going to be a great move to people, but defense to me is not the issue here for the Ravens. I've always maintained that I think the issue is on the offensive side. I think that they have, of course, you have the running back that, people would say if not for Saquon Barkley was the best in the league last year. But as you get older, I'm looking at, Derrick Henry as possibility for some decline, some tread on the tires. You got to hope that he can give you at least 80% of what he gave you last year, and then that's a really good season. But Bateman and DeAndre Hopkins, that don't really move me like that, bro. And how much help does Lamar need on defense to win a playoff game? I don't understand all these signings every season. I want to see them invest on the offensive side. So I give it a B+ because I really fuck with Jaire Alexander. Injury issues the last 2-3 seasons. If they can put it together, it's an A+ trade. But offense, man, get that boy some help on offense, especially when your tight end can't catch the fucking ball in the end zone. Like what is this?
Be more specific in terms of the words that you're using. They need a pass catcher because they upgraded the offense with Derrick Henry last year, and we saw that paid off. But I don't disagree with you in the playoffs, and he's one of the better tight ends in the game right now. And he dropped, like a gimme. So I don't disagree. They definitely need to invest, in my opinion, better pass catchers. I think Zay Flowers passes the eye test, but is he a number one guy? Not in my opinion. I think he's more slot guy, gadget guy, number 2 guy, but he is a guy. That's for sure. The tight end is definitely a guy. I think their cornerback room has been struggling. Marlon Humphreys, he's been on a decline. He isn't as elite as he once was. They drafted a corner in Nate Wiggins last year to kind of shore that up. And the rest of those corners have been mediocre at best. You know what I'm saying? So I do think Jaire Alexander is an upgrade for them, but it's still the same pressure. It's not more pressure. You know what I'm saying? It's still the same pressure because he's a multiple-time league MVP and he hasn't won the big one. And we know that the AFC is going to be the tougher side to come out of because you got Patty Mahomes, because you got Josh Allen, because you got Joe Burrow. You know what I'm saying? Those 3 guys are the only guys that we can say in the league that are arguably better than him. So that being said, it doesn't add more pressure. It just get the job done. That's
I agree with you.
There's
no more pressure added because the main thing that they need, and also the Q's point, like y'all keep adding these defensive pieces. They're good. That's fine. But if I'm a Baltimore fan, my expectation is Lamar Jackson has the ball in his hands and he has somebody to throw the ball to that won't drop it in the end zone. Shout out to Mark Andrews. He's a really good tight end, but they don't have a number 1 receiver. Bateman is not it. And even adding on the running back that they added, like adding Henry on was great. That helps Lamar out. But I still need somebody that can get open in December, in January to catch a pass when all the pressure is on me. So nothing changes about what we expect from Baltimore. We expect them to make deep playoff runs. We expect Lamar Jackson to be very good. But when there has to be somebody that needs to catch a football, that needs to get open, they've never done that for him. They're dependent on somebody like Mark Andrews to be the guy, and that just doesn't work. But then what they do every season is go, oh, well, let's add this cornerback. Well, let's add this outside linebacker. Let's add this defensive end. And that's not what they need to add. The defense is okay. I need to know, like, Lamar Jackson got to be able to outduel Patrick Mahomes. He got to be able to outduel Josh Allen in December, in January, and that's only going to come from them having a great pass catcher, and they don't have that.
2 things.
Hey,
real quick, Nick. How many yards did he throw for last year?
Who?
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, over the 4,000 right
there. Yeah, 4,000 yards. So you got the yards. Also, number 2, he asked.
Wait. That's different from having a key legitimate pass catcher in December and January throwing for 4,000 yards. Those are 2 different things.
Number 2, he asked for this cornerback. This is something that he asked for. He went in there and asked for Jaire. So, and that was him lobbying. It wasn't the GM.
Yeah, Sheldon, he should have came on down to Philadelphia. But that's a whole different that's a whole different conversation.
But my thing is this, and I'm so glad Lou took the bait. Because Ken, Shelton, everybody, I know y'all remember, Lou was one of the main people talking about number 1 wide receivers. You don't win championships with them. You don't need them on the team. He been caping.
I still stand by it.
I was waiting for this. Then what the fuck is you saying now, there, Lou? What are you talking about?
But you can't roll. You can't roll Rashad Bateman out there and expect. You say, "Oh, now I signed Jaire Alexander. We still got Rashad Bateman. I expect y'all to win the Super Bowl." No.
What does Lamar not have?
Can't be your best receiver, bro.
What does Lamar not have? Right, a number 1 wide receiver. Now tell me everything else he got.
Everything.
What
Everything else.
What else does he like? That's what I'm saying. It's like we seen Patty go to a Super Bowl with butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers. You know what I'm saying?
Bro. That's definitely the outlier.
FIFA, what did you say he was?
You know this.
What if FIFA said
he's in that club though? He's in that club though.
We gotta take Michael Jordan, Patrick Mahomes out of conversation.
I'm not
he's
saying
in that club. If you
I'm not saying he's a top 3 QB all time, but he's already a Hall of Famer with 2 MVPs.
Of course,
what are we talking about? And Hall of Fame and Hall of Fame QBs 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10 have chips or at least gone to a chip. Even Dan Marino didn't he get to a Super Bowl or something like that. At least he was there.
So to me, you have to compare him to Mahomes. Yeah. That's his comp. Even though we know what Mahomes has done all time, Mahomes is his comp as of
there is
today.
No comp.
Right
there
now.
is no comp in the NFL.
But to me, Sheldon, I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I just am uncomfortable putting anybody in that. Well, Mahomes did it with nothing because, first of all, for all the praise that we give Mahomes, he still had Tyreek Hill for the first couple, and then he had Travis Kelce as well, and then you have Andy Reid, you have Spagnuolo, and add in Mahomes' greatness. I can't compare that to Harbaugh, and I don't even know who the fuck the offensive coordinator is or defensive coordinator is.
All I'm saying is that we seen him with the number 1 seed. We seen him have the number 1 rushing offense for like the last 2-3 years in the AFC at least. We seen this man. He doesn't have like since Brady retired, him and Patty got the best winning percentage, I think. So it's just like after this, there's a lot of QBs that we talk about that's like, all right, bro, this like they're on the clock. Let's say so I know I'm not trying to say like he's the main only one, but he's top 3 as far as like, bro, if you don't get a title this year, when are you getting the title? Because it's not even like let's even take the title out. When can you even get to the Super Bowl? Can you even beat Patty?
But here's the thing, man. In the NFL, you either gotta have an advantageous defense and really good offensive weapons, or you have to have an incredible defense and serviceable weapons with good organization around you. You know what I'm saying? And great QB play, of course. That's already like a non-starter. But when you look at the Ravens, to me, you have really good defense, not like otherworldly, like, oh my God. And then you have weapons that leave a lot to be desired with this amazing QB and a really good running back. You know what I mean? Top 2 in the league. Or let's just say great, backfield. So the issue is, for me, is the same. A lot of what's the same for Josh Allen. It's just like the organization is not really putting much around you.
That's
and you're still, but they're not though. It's just
that's a lie. I'm just saying that's a lie. What you're saying?
How? But how is it?
Because every season we have seen them add something to help benefit the team and the way that they win. They're just Lamar is not a passing QB like Burrow, like Allen, like Patty. He's just not. He's different. He's elite in he's elite in his own right. If you had to pick between someone throwing you the ball between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, who
I'm
you
taking Lamar Jackson.
I mean,
Lamar Jackson is a better passer than Josh Allen.
It's a toss-up. It's really a toss-up, Nick.
Lamar Jackson is a better passer than Josh Allen.
Ken, did we not watch the game? What was the first pass Lamar did against the Bills in this past playoff? What did it look like?
Bro, we keep every single season, and we're not going to devolve this into a Lamar Jackson overall, his career conversation, but every single season we talk about Lamar Jackson's offensive coordinator and the offense just not being what it should be. And we talk about John Harbaugh's mistakes every single season, the same way that I give Josh Allen a lot of grace with his organizational ineptitude as well and what they're putting around him. Now, narratives aside, just watching how they play the game, you can tell that they both of the organizations are not giving them everything that they need. I don't care. Sometimes you got to save the kid from himself. I don't care if you want Jaire Alexander, bro. We can get to the playoffs with everything we need. We can get there without him. We need to go get somebody who puts fear in the heart of the defense. Rashad Bateman and Zach Powers, these are solid.
That contradicts everything that y'all saying, because even the chat, which is trying to make arguments against what I'm saying, is making my argument for me. He has all the passing stats. Did he not, Shelton, last year? He has some of the highest percentages, throwing percentages, all that stuff. It's just that when we get to the playoffs, like last season and the year before that. Year before that was his best chance when he faced Patty at home, and they held the Chiefs to 17 points. The defending champs, and you telling me you can't get that job done? If I told you going into that game, we hold the Chiefs 17 points and at home, should we be able to score 20 with the number one rushing offense and an MVP? Like,
okay, but Nick, all right, take Derrick Henry off this team, take Andrews, just give me Likely, Bateman, right? And you're telling me that if you add in Jamar Chase on the left side of the field, for real, you add in Jamar Chase on the left side of the field, you add in T. Higgins on the left side of the field. That does not change the entire dynamic of how Lamar can throw the ball and how many points you can put up in a playoff game. Their defense hasn't created one turnover in the playoffs in the last, I think, 3 seasons. That is ridiculous, bro. And the thing is that you're getting there.
You can add George Pickens. They could have got who we got as the Cowboys, and they would have been significantly better. But they adding Jaire Alexander like that's
because Lamar wants it.
That's not going to help them in December and January. He needs weapons.
Y'all are telling me that Lamar Jackson has been stopped from getting to a Super Bowl, winning a title because he doesn't have a number one wide receiver.
I've been saying
that's
that
part of it.
I've been saying that.
Is that the main? Because to me, when I watch one
of the main reasons is Harbaugh.
No, because I watch these
offensive team.
When I watch these games, because y'all keep criticizing the offense, but I won them 2 MVPs with 2 different offensive coordinators. So something is going right. Okay, but the regular season stats is what y'all talking about him throwing and stuff like that.
But you're talking about him winning championships, though. Winning championships and winning MVPs are two totally different things.
I'm not. Well, then why does the MVP not show up in the playoffs? Why does his stats look different? Why does he have a 3 to 5? Why does he have a 3 to 5 winning losing record in the playoffs?
Because you know what, Nick, and this is where Spike may depart and he might jump out the car right now. But they don't give him enough Jalen Hurts in the playoffs. I'm sorry. They want him to be too super in the playoffs. They keep trying to stick to the.
I understand. That makes sense.
But you know what I'm saying?
No sense.
Like it does make sense.
They make it really easy for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, bro.
They don't make it easy for Lamar Jackson.
Lamar has to do extraordinary shit in the playoffs for them to just score 17. Where it's like they give Jalen simple concepts to execute, and he's great at it. And that's why I was saying when they lost to Buffalo is that simplify the offense, and a way to simplify that is to have a guy that strikes fear into the heart. No one's looking at Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers like, oh my God, how are we going to cover these guys? No, you got to look at AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Saquon Barkley and be like, what the fuck? You have to look at back in the day Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, be like, yo, I don't know who we cover. You have to have a gargantuan Titan level performance from Levante David in the Super Bowl to beat Patrick Mahomes by covering Travis Kelce. To stop the Ravens, all you got to do is just send 4 and just keep Lamar in contain. Yep. Because the other guys on the outside they're not beating me.
Even with Derrick Henry, I'm not even scared coming out of the backfield.
Like I know you have to hand the ball. Why can't we say a part of that though is him pressing? Because when you look at what happened to him even this year, we talk about Mark Andrews dropping that pass, but we forget he had 2 turnovers early pressing. So a lot of it's on him. It's not just him needing more weapons. It's him relaxing and playing under pressure. He can't.
That goes to what Q was saying. That goes to what Q was saying about the team making it easier for him. The reason he had those 2 turnovers in those games, and we can go back and look at them, is because he was trying to do too much. He put the ball on the ground, rolling back like that, trying to do too much. They give Jalen Hurts a very simple outline to do. Do these things, we will win the game. For Lamar Jackson, it's like, hey, man, complete this algebraic thing that has never been completed before in the history of the franchise, and we'll win a Super Bowl.
That offense is not that complicated. Yeah, that offense is not that complicated.
And that's the reason why they're losing.
Last couple of points, and then we need to move on to the next topic because we still got to do power rankings.
My thing is that y'all always try to make, like, at this point in time, someone mentioned in the chat, Burrow, Allen, and Lamar are all on the hots. They're all on the clock far as like somebody has to win this AFC. If Patty win the AFC one more time, all of them is suspect. Fuck everything that they've done because they haven't done the big thing.
That's true.
It's true.
I just think
because what's
they're
all
just
these
facing the generational talent. Like that's like saying that Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, and all those people on the hot seat when Jordan was winning. They're just facing generational talent, man. Like if this was anybody else besides Patrick Mahomes they were facing, then you would have a point.
But Spike, we don't talk about. Spike, we do not talk about Ewing. We do not talk about Karl Malone. FIFA, the only one that talked about Karl Malone.
We know Jordan was there, and like
it's a standard, bro.
But that's the point. But anyway, let's move on because man, it's not even football season. Y'all saying arguing about
every
day is for football season, Ken.
Thank you.
Okay, whatever. But anyway, probably one of the most forgotten number one overall picks in recent memory, Cam Ward, has been making an impact on the Tennessee Titans as their starting QB for the upcoming season. Why has Ward not been talked about as much as the other young QBs, and what expectations do you have for him and the Titans this season?
He's playing in Tennessee.
It's the Titans. That's why.
That's the biggest reason.
He's just playing in Tennessee. Like if he was the number one pick on the Jets, like everybody would be talking about what can he do in the Big Apple. If he was a Giant, what can he do in the Big Apple? If he was Dallas, you know what I'm saying? If it was if it was the Dolphins, can he bring the Dolphins back to prominence? But Tennessee, just like the Grizzlies, a very overlooked market. There's nothing. I like Nashville. You know, Nashville's a beautiful place. Like beautiful people, but it's nothing sexy about it. You can't really sell it yet. I mean, and the weapons are not necessarily, what they should be. There's not much that's, for marketing. So I think that we're going to see what he has. I don't think people should really have many expectations of him besides can he look competent and can he, not be a fucking mess but turning the ball over. Like, can you be a competent QB? Can you win the games you're supposed to win? And those are games that you're going up. I don't know if they're playing the Giants or I don't know if they're playing teams like Cleveland, but those are the games that I want to see you be competitive in. You should not be getting blown out by those teams, And I think that's what you should expect. Everything else, nah, I'm not expecting you to beat the Chiefs, bro.
Yeah, realistic. But just what I say is quick. This is going back to McNair, Eddie George days. Like even when the Titans have good teams, they're not covered nationally. It never happens. Like it took them going to the Super Bowl against the Rams, and people were still like, "Who? What?" So like the Titans don't do a good job of marketing their team. They never have. I don't know if they will, but even with him being the first pick, it ain't got nothing to do with Cam. He may be good. He may suck. I'm not sure, but the Tennessee overall does not do a good job. They're one of the bottom 3 teams, I would say, as far as getting the name out there, making people talk about the players that they draft. So it's not a Cam thing, it's a Titans thing.
What I expect from them is for him to do well. I really, really do. I watched Cam at Washington State. I watched him at Miami, and I saw a confident quarterback in the pocket. I don't know if y'all pay attention when I'm talking about this stuff, but I always talk about pocket presence and what I see. And the ones that I didn't see it with, the Sam Darnolds, the Zach Wilson, and those guys like that. But I saw it with him always. He was so calm in the pocket, almost too calm at times. But it would serve him well in the NFL. That plus the fact that you saw the clips of him and Shador. He's football. And this team will fly under the radar, which will give him an opportunity to play in some of these games. I don't mind their running game at all. Dallas is, what's his name? Tony, what's his name, Lou? Your guy.
The running back.
Tony Pollard. And they got another running back. Spears is the other one. So he has some runners to help him out there. So I expect him to kind of, do well. I don't think he's going to be nowhere near what Jaden Daniels was. Yeah, nowhere near what Jaden Daniels was, but I think he'll be a solid. I look at right below where CJ and Jaden Daniels fell. I see him doing that. He will sneak up on some teams. They're going to surprise some teams, I think.
You got him right below CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels?
I'm saying their rookie seasons. Yeah, just their rookie seasons.
And I will say this. I think part of the reason why we're not seeing anything or he's not being talked about is because, number one, I do agree it is the Tennessee Titans. They don't do a really good job with the media aspect of it. But also partly of what Shelton's saying, I think he is a guarantee to be good. What does that translate to team success? This is the NFL. Like, you need 10 other guys to really be, good to decent, if not exceptional at their job to move the needle. But it starts with the quarterback, and I think he's going to be really good. But I don't know if they're going to have like a successful season as a team. I think they'll be drafting in the top 10, top 15 again, just because that team isn't that good. Weak division, but at the end of the day, everything that Shelton said, man, like, he has the arm talent, he has the pocket awareness, he can make every single throw. If you do tap into Titans coverage, everybody's excited for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not a throw on the field he can't make. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to come down to reading the defense. It's going to come down to poise. It's going to come down to a lot of those things that he already has. But he's a rookie, and I don't think that he has the same situation as Jaden Daniels. I don't think he has the same situation as some of these rookie QBs that have come in and had tremendous success. But I just think it's just going to be a little bit mundane. But I think that if he plays well, as good as we say, or as good as me and Shelton think he can play, I think the narrative will change. I think we'll be talking a lot more about Cam Ward versus these other quarterbacks.
So he might be like SGA-esque.
I think that.
I think he's a little more special than SGA, though.
I think it's a travesty that Cam hasn't gotten his shine. He's been outshined by somebody else who got picked.
It's not a travesty
in the 5th round. But I think. I want to play some. I'm just saying. It's fast. I want to say that Tennessee arguably has a chance to win the division this year, because I don't believe in Jacksonville. I'm questioning Houston, and the Colts just don't know what to do. They're going through a lot right now. I think Tennessee could be primed to have, like you said, Sheldon, a surprise rookie QB season. Like not Jaden Daniels-esque where he gets them to the championship game, but at least win the division in a year that no one thought that they would win the division. And I think this is the year for that, because I think the AFC South is more of a shitball division than we give it credit for.
Do you think he could have like a Russell Wilson rookie season?
The team not built like that. The rest of the guys ain't good enough to make a playoff.
I was gonna say real quick, Luke, I think Tennessee was actually really talented. I just think that when you have Will Levis, the team just like I can't work with this nigga. Like I'm not about to go hard with this. Bro,
that's true.
That game against the Bears, bro, was all I needed to see for their season, bro.
That's true.
Like, they was turning the ball over like crazy, and he was just turning the ball. And it's like, bro, I'm not about to play hard for this nigga. Like, fuck all that shit. And so, like, if you improve that, Tennessee could win. They could have won probably 3 more games than they did, 3 to 4 more games than they did, just based off of Will Levis and fucking up alone.
And I like. Oh, go ahead.
I was just wondering, did you think Travis Hunter or Cam Ward would be more impactful in the division this season?
It's Cam Ward. He touches the ball. He touches the ball
every play. Yeah, Travis. It's gonna be tough for Travis if he's playing both ways. That's gonna be tough. That's gonna be super tough.
I think that's what's gonna make him more impactful, because he playing both ways.
They talked about that too. If he gets hurt, you got to replace both sides of the ball. You got 2 players out at one time if you look at it that way. But then, like you said, and the growing pains from that position. But you look at, and once again, I'm not comparing. I don't think he's going to be them. But you look at when CJ took over that quarterback position at Houston, what was that roster at Houston? Nobody thought nothing about Houston when he took over. Same thing with Washington. When Jaden Daniels came in for Washington, nobody thought anything about that roster until he got on the roster and elevated the play of everybody around him. Both those two elevated their teammates. And like you say, Nick, it's kind of wide open if you look at it. I'm not saying that Houston's going to fall like that, but second place is definitely
Houston only won 10 games. They were only 1 game better than the Bengals. And you know what I'm saying? Like that I was expecting a lot more from Houston in that second season than what they did, because they really leaned on the run game more than the quarterback. And granted, they had a couple injuries, which, Tank Dell still may not play until next season. But
I thought he was
everybody was hurt.
And Nick, you know what else is good though? What you said is actually better for him. The fact that the focus has been on Shedeur, he's been able to fly under the radar and do exactly what he wants to do. He's focusing on football, and ain't nobody thinking about him. Nobody. So
I feel like that would have been the case.
That's That's the biggest benefit. You think about most number one draft picks and you think about most quarterbacks at that. All eyes are on them the whole time. Ain't nobody even really thought about him. So he can do exactly what he came to do, which is like he said, and he's proven this whole time, I'm here to play football and I ain't thinking about nothing else. He don't have to think about the media. He don't have to think about any of that stuff right now except for playing football.
All right, let's jump into our worst of the week. Shelton, I think you are.
Yeah, man, I got to do the worst of the week. It's supposed to be Lou. I did send it in, so I don't know where. My worst of the week is you, Nick.
Oh, man.
Nick, you are my worst of the week. Let me tell you why, Nick. We did a recap of the game the other night, man, and Nick, the way you went in on Halliburton.
What you mean?
The man nothing. Was injured, Nick. And the way you went in on this game and saying how the way you talked about the boys, man, I really felt that was real disrespectful.
How was it?
Hey, Nick looks like the abusive boyfriend in Tyler Perry movie. Like, what the fuck is this, bro?
First of all,
did you crazy?
Did you face
you got that picture on the shirt, don't you?
Yes, I do. I definitely had this picture.
It was a video that he screenshot. There's a lot of photos of me that go on the group chat. People know what I'm talking about.
Nick blame Halliburton.
Somebody seen that picture, say you look just like your daddy.
Nigga like he about to hit her because she didn't take the chicken out. God damn. You ain't never gonna leave me. You ain't never gonna leave me.
Get your ass in that kitchen, girl.
Tyler Perry music.
I'm trying to tell you, I kept it a bean about it all, bro. Because they taking away the shine from OKC. They keep on talking about this is a what if for Indy. Fuck all that shit. You can't tell me that you can't tell me that y'all not surprised that he got injured. And then also say that that because he got injured, that changed everything. It wasn't a surprise. We knew he was injured going into the game.
That man scored 9 points in 3 minutes, Nick, and got hurt, and you blamed him for their loss.
Hey, Sheldon, life can change in 3 minutes. You already know you can do a lot of things in 3 minutes.
I don't even want to talk about this. This nigga look like an extra in Blade. Like, what the fuck? This shit is crazy. This is crazy.
Listen.
Okay.
Oh my god, that picture was crazy.
All right. No power rankings. We're gonna jump right into we got a member chat from Rob who's gone night. And he's probably got his plush SGA Jack doll next to him.
Hey, if you got that, that's hella sus. It's
probably life size too, Nick.
You know he do.
It's his Thunder buddy, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, SGA on one side and Drake on the other.
Hey, that's a crazy threesome, right?
That's nasty.
Thunder up, bro.
That sound like Lou Nightmare.
That's nasty right there. Get me out of that building ASAP.
But he said, y'all hate Canadians. It's okay. SGA certified.
Listen, that's the reason why there ain't no face of the league no more, because we got Canadians with it now, kid.
And they don't know how to act.
They don't know how to show up. Shit.
Then we got J Will 501. I guess we're going right back to where we were. The elite defense Lamar hasn't forced a playoff turnover since 2020. The Eagles had 13 turnovers this past playoff alone.
Come on.
What?
Hello.
Yeah.
No, I think he was saying that the defense hasn't been great, but they've been in games enough.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say they've won all these. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what are y'all arguing? Are they good or not? because they went at a high level.
They still need more.
They were number one seeds. They've been the number one defense before. Like
their defense is solid.
But you know what?
Better offensive.
You know what? Though, Jay Will, that wouldn't have mattered if it wouldn't have mattered if Lamar didn't turn the ball over. So that wouldn't even matter.
Exactly.
Here we go. Right.
You're the same person. You're the same person that said that fumble didn't cost the Eagles the Super Bowl.
It didn't.
And I'm the same person that said.
Now it ain't turnovers.
Hey Lou, I'm the same person that says
both turnovers.
It's both. Turnovers matter in football, especially in the playoffs. If you turn the ball over,
when you have a terrible offensive scheme and you're trying to do too much. Yeah.
Well, I think the question is Alexander supposed to?
No,
this is a gamble because Alexander's been hurt for the last 2 seasons. Yeah, so it's like
and he a wild card. You don't even know what he gonna do. Like he might wild out at some point in the season.
He a light skin dude with green eyes. I don't trust him. Right.
The other other than you, he the other Tyler Perry villain. Like he the other dude that's listed in the Tyler Perry villain.
I'm just saying, I don't see Jaire Alexander making Jamar shake at all. Like that, like Lamar's gonna be like, that's free lunch right there.
Facts.
All right. Well, yeah, he barely want to keep anyway. All right. Well, that is gonna do it for us. I think the next thing we have coming up is the NBA draft.
And free agency is starting basically. Free agency is already started.
Yeah. We had Kyrie's gonna re-up for another 3 years.
The Pacers are being extorted. The Pacers are being extorted. Not the Pacers. The Portland Trailblazers are being extorted right now. We have no clue why they just helped the Celtics do what they just did, but they did it for some reason.
Anthony Simmons, that's a good trade for them, though.
Simons is he is an awful defender, but you're betting on that Mazzulla on a contract year can get the best out of him, and maybe he'll want to stay where he's had most success. So. But this is going to be an incredible free agency. I think it's going to be the first time, and for me personally, I'm disappointed in it, but this is going to be incredible to see that for the first time, the NBA is going to be all about teams wanting to save money rather than really winning overall, because this second apron, CJ McCollum is going to have to pay for his crimes, bro. Like what he's done in the last CBA is that's a travesty, Nick. That's a real travesty.
Hey, listen, there were people were talking about something. Y'all ain't gonna talk about these trades. I'm like, what trades? The only one that mattered was KD. Porzingis getting traded to whoever gives the
Atlanta Hawks.
Jordan Poole getting moved for who bumfuck here, bumfuck there. Like,
but there's so much happening. Like FIFA, like Ace Bailey, like declining workouts, like all this stuff. There's so much going on right now in the NBA, and it's just a very strange time because this second apron, everyone's afraid of it. And I think that we have kind of lost the plot where now we're more afraid of, spending money than actually building these winning teams. And I don't see how that's good. I think the NBA, like I said, like 2 episodes ago, they're really focused on trying to build these, like basically these AAU teams of like a bunch of, core guys and then deep bench.
And this is why I told Ken that the draft picks are still valuable.
Definitely still valuable. You need it because if you're Brooklyn, I think you have 6-7 first-round picks in the draft this year. You're looking for diamonds in the rough. You're looking for rotation guys. Like people like Casson Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, you saw it, Lou Dortz. They're all in the first round waiting to be picked. And that's why I think that the draft is definitely still valuable. You still need these guys.
All right, man. See, and at that point, that's when I know it's time to go. Because people up here talking about domestic players, like what the hell, Yeah, he trying to hype up domestic player because they don't
only thing domestic was that picture of Nick. That shit was that
was domestic as hell. Nigga, that was East Baltimore domestic.
He said you ain't never gonna leave
me. All right, man. Well, yeah, so we'll keep you guys posted on the upcoming schedule because You know, we got to get ready for the Nets.
The best season, the best time of the year, Lewis.
Real season, baby. Let's go.
Yeah,
this is basketball shit out of here.
For some reason, Spike and Nick look forward to getting tortured every year.
Every year, Q.
I signed up for it. You're right. I signed up for it though.
I've seen my team in the Super Bowl recently. So I got
cheat on me no more.
Cut Nick Mike off. Get him out of here.
Yeah, so we'll cover some of the free agency moves, and definitely the draft, and then we'll let you guys know what we have planned for July until the NFL training camp starts. So until then, man, we are out. Peace. Oh, as far as the league, yeah, we're talking about it, the Beans. So updates coming soon. Peace.